it's Jason Gilbo here at Fantasy Baseball Cafe. I am taking a look at pitching for this upcoming week, looking at the two start guys, looking at who you can shop and get those two starts from. A couple guys on the injury report that aren't looking too good, and two that are coming back. I got a pitcher profile on Clay Buchholz. Pretty moderately underowned throughout the leagues, and I think he's a guy who should be at least 80% owned. I think you go pick him up right now. 27% strikeout rate, which is 12th in the league. So usually a guy who's up there in strikeout rate is getting picked up. Take also a look at two new closers who are in the NL, a couple guys that are out in. So we got a lot going on here today. Two starts. I am looking at Nate Carnes out of Tampa as a nice waiver wire ad, and he takes on the Braves and Athletics. So two decent average offenses who A's have been on and off. The Braves are coming back down to earth to where everyone thought they were, and Nate Carnes has been pitching actually pretty well. He's allowing just a 200 average to right-handed bats and a buck 85 to lefties. Sitting at a 23% strikeout rate this season and a 50% ground ball. So he'll be heading off two starts this week, and he's heading into two favorable pitching environments. And I'm looking at two quality starts. I don't know about the wins, just with the way the Rays offense is behind him, which is always kind of a tough stretch. But if you're one of those leagues that counts on quality starts over wins, or you need some help with ERA and strikeouts, Nate Carnes is your guy to pick up. Pretty underowned throughout the league, so a guy to look for. Next guy here is a little heavier owned, but about 30% owned, not owned in leagues around. Jason Hamill. He is taking on at San Diego and at Arizona. He's on the West Coast swing for the Cubbies, so I think he picks up at least one win there. He has a tough matchup with James Shields, so that could be a toss-up, but a quality start should happen. He takes on two middle-of-the-road offenses that are in the league. They're kind of boom or bust, but Jason Hamill's been pitching really well this season. Not heavily watched because of being behind Jake Arrieta, who's been okay, and John Lester, who's bounced back, but he had a tough first two starts. But Jason Hamill's been pretty consistent this season. He's got 3.11 ERA, allowing a 275 WOBA, and he has a 22.4% strikeout rate. So, great numbers out of a guy who's, your middle of the rotation guy who should shore up your back end rotations for fantasy. Ruby De La Rosa, he's quietly started to come on a little bit. His main struggle has been against lefties, allowing a 295 average, which is a little troublesome, just because that's been where he's been getting beat at. But he's holding right-handed bats to a buck 78, and he has a 22% strikeout rate, which is great. He just took on the Marlins, threw a complete game, lost it on the 2-run shot to a nobody catcher, which is a little discouraging, but 5 strikeouts. 22% strikeout rate's pretty good for Ruby De La Rosa, and he's got a shot to pick up some more strikeouts against the Cubs, so they strike out quite a bit. He's at home, so I think he's worth a shot, worth a shot to pick up there. I'm going to take a look at Clay Buchholz now. He's not a 2-start this week, but I am just taking a deeper look into him. 41% owned in ESPN, 33% owned in Yahoo, which pretty crazy for a guy who ranks 12th in strikeout rate in the bigs, and he's ahead of King Felix and Matt Harvey. So, like I said, 27% strikeout rate, which is great. 2.91 FIP, so you're really expecting the ERA to drop. He's had 2-3 real rough starts where that just shot up. The 9 earned runs in Yankee Stadium is what comes to mind, and then he had another tough start against Baltimore. 64% left on base, so he's got to shape up with runners on. Taking a couple no decisions and losses where he actually pitched really well. So, we're looking at. He's a guy who's 16th in FIP, which is around Greinke and Chris Sale and Garrett Richards. So he's really around a lot of quality names, but the ERA has just been what's killing him. So I understand why people have shied away from him, but a guy who's worth owning. And I'm not biased because of the pennant back there, but I I'm a believer in Buchholz. Good numbers. He should even out here. A guy to match up, against the lesser teams, which he's pitched really well against, and um, I mean he can put up those double-digit strikeouts. I mean, just threw up 11 against Seattle, but unfortunately no run support behind him. So they should heat up. Buckle should heat up, and a guy who's not owned, so go grab him. So two new closers in this week. Brad Ziegler is in for Addison Reed, who just is not getting it done for Arizona over the past couple of years. Ziegler's got that funky throwing arm, whatever you want to call it, going on. But hitters can't figure him out. I mean, this season they're hitting below 200 from both sides. He's allowed 2 earned runs in 17 innings, which, I mean, that's pretty great for a setup guy. I mean, whenever he comes in, I don't have much hope for opposing batters for getting anything off of him. So Ziegler's going to be a great guy to add some cheap saves, and definitely should go out and grab him. AJ Ramos is in for the Marlins. He's been a guy who's been kind of long overdue. Right-handed bats hitting .94 off of him, and then lefties are hitting a buck 67. Allowed 2 runs in 20 innings, 26 strikeouts. So he's a guy who misses some bats, and he's been pretty lights out for Miami this season. Well deserved, and he should pick him up right away. Some disappointing news: Hyunjin Ryu, most likely heading in for surgery to shut down his season. I think it was something most people could see coming. He had a lot of injuries linger last year, which led to him missing some starts, and wasn't much hope for him this season. But so he's heading in for surgery, likely to miss a year. Had some bullpen sessions going on, but he just never came back clean after any of them. Justin Verlander on the way back, finally. Curious to see what he has to offer. Wasn't great last season, but I was expecting a rebound and quicker return from him from his injury, but he had a little setback, but seems to be good to go now. He threw a 45-pitch bullpen session at 100% and felt great, mixed in all of his pitches. Will likely head for a rehab start. Possibly see 2 out of him, which would be the way to go, I feel, but Verlander was pushing for 1 for the Detroit organization, so we'll see. He's a gamer. A guy, I think he rebounds this season if he's healthy, and that's the big question mark. So we'll see when he gets back. He should be back probably early June, and then you're looking at pitch counts. You're just seeing how he is to feel him out first. But a guy who's worth the ad, stick him on the DL if you want. I'm banking on Verlander to make a return for this season. Masahiro Tanaka making a rehab start on Thursday. His arm is a mess from top to bottom, shoulder, elbow, wrist, you name it. He's got something going on. He's already pitching with a partial tear. He's got forearm tendonitis, a wrist soreness. So I'm really curious to see how he comes back and how long he lasts. I mean, I think it's inevitable right now of when he's going to be shut down for the year. So I'm curious to see when he comes back, but that's the updated news on him right now. So right now, that wraps it up here at the pitching preview for the week. And always Mondays, we'll be breaking down 2 starts, waiver wire ads. I'll take a look at a pitcher profile guy that I think should be owned heavily. And, injury news with these pitchers seems to be coming in pretty frequently. So we'll always be here with that. And bullpen, always catching up on the bullpen. So be sure to catch up with us next Monday on Pitcher Preview.